Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. Welcome to Anchored in Faith. My name is Deborah, and we will be talking about the ego body illusion. This is coming from chapter 4 of A Course in Miracles, and we are on section 5, the ego body illusion. I'm going to be reading the text, and then we're going to dive in a little bit deeper because this is pretty prevalent in today's society. And then at the end, I will, depending on how spirit moves through me, if I feel that light language would support this text, then I'll bring through a light language channeling as well. Okay, so here we go. The ego body illusion. All things work together for good. There are no exceptions except in the ego's judgment. The ego exerts maximal vigilance about what it permits into awareness, and this is not the way a balanced mind holds together. The ego is thrown further off balance because it keeps its primary motivation from your awareness and raises control rather than sanity to predominance. The ego has every reason to do this. According to the thought system which gave rise to it and which it serves, sane judgment would inevitably judge against the ego and must be obliterated by the ego in the interest of its self-preservation. A major source of the ego's off-balance state is its lack of discrimination between the body and the thoughts of God. Thoughts of God are unacceptable to the ego because they clearly point to the non-existence of the ego itself. The ego therefore either distorts them or refuses to accept them. It cannot, however, make them cease to be. It therefore tries to conceal not only unacceptable. Oh, wait, where am I? It therefore tries to conceal not only unacceptable body impulses, but also the thoughts of God, because both are threatening to it. Being concerned primarily with its own preservation in the face of threat, the ego perceives them as the same. By perceiving them as the same, the ego attempts to save itself from being swept away, as it would surely be in the presence of knowledge. As any thought system that confuses God with the body must be insane. Yet this confusion is essential to the ego, which judges only in terms of threat or non-threat to itself. In one sense, the ego's fear of God is at least logical, since the idea of him does dispel the ego. But fear of the body with which the ego identifies so closely makes no sense at all. The body is the ego's home by its own election. It is the only identification. Whoops. Sorry, that's my timer to do my daily Course in Miracles lesson, which is God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. Okay. Where were we? I'm just going to start again, section 4. The body is the ego's home by its own election. It is the only identification with which the ego feels safe, since the body's vulnerability is its own best argument that you cannot be of God. This is the belief that the ego sponsors eagerly. Yet the ego hates the body because it cannot accept it as good enough to be its home. Here is where the mind becomes actually dazed, being told by the ego that it is really part of the body and that the body is its protector. The mind is also told that the body cannot protect it. Therefore, the mind asks, where can I go for protection? To which the ego replies, turn to me. The mind, and not without cause, reminds the ego that it has itself insisted that it's identified with the body, so there is no point in turning to it for protection. The ego has no real answer to this because there is none, but it does have a typical solution. It obliterates the question from the mind's awareness. Once out of awareness, the question can and does produce uneasiness, but it cannot be answered because it cannot be asked. This is the question that must be asked. Where can I go for protection? Seek and you shall find. Does not mean that you should seek blindly and desperately for something you would not recognize. Meaningful seeking is consciously undertaken, consciously organized, and consciously directed. The goal must be formulated clearly and kept in mind. Learning and wanting to learn are inseparable. You learn best when you believe what you are trying to learn is of value to you. However, not everything you may want to learn has lasting value. Indeed, many of the things you want to learn may be chosen because their value will not last. The ego thinks it is an advantage not to commit itself to anything that is eternal because the eternal must come from God. Eternalness is the one function the ego has tried to develop, but has systematically failed to achieve. The ego comprises with the issue of the eternal, just as it does with all issues touching on the real question in any way. By becoming involved with tangential issues, it hopes to hide the real question and keep it out of mind. The ego's characteristic busyness with non-essentials is for precisely that purpose. Preoccupations with problems set up to be incapable of solution are favorite ego devices for impeding learning progress. In all these diversionary tactics, however, the one question that is never asked by those who pursue them is, what for? This is the question that you must learn to ask in connection with everything. What is the purpose? Whatever it is, it will direct your efforts automatically. When you make a decision of purpose, then you have made a decision about your future effort, a decision that will remain in effect unless you change your mind. So this is from Chapter 4, The Illusion of the Ego. And it is Section 5, The Ego-Body Illusion. So now we're going to take a little deeper dive into what this topic is because it is so prevalent. It always has been, but it seems like it's even more so prevalent in today's society, especially with all of our obsessions with our image in the body and aging and the appearance of youthfulness and just all of those things. We've got 8-year-old girls trying to use retinol on their skin, and it's like, 6-year-olds wanting that 8-year-old. It's like that youthfulness, and it's just kind of mind-boggling that even such young. We're getting younger and younger and attacking our bodies, and so this is a really important lesson today. So I've made some notes. I'm just going to refer to them so I can stay on topic. I'm going to shut this off. I apologize. Okay, so first and foremost, we want to come from, that's what the Course in Miracles is all about. It's not coming from an attacking point of view. It's coming from a place of distinguishing between, caring for the body. So not to, confuse the two. We're not going to attack all of those things I just mentioned. But, putting things into perspective when it comes to, weight loss is important, if it is going to help with your overall health and well-being. It's not to be used. Well, I'm not I shouldn't say it's not to be used. I mean, certainly you have to use your own free will, but I think the point of it is, there are it's being advertised as a weight loss drug, not just for medical purposes. Let's just leave it like that. So, let's see. We're going to start with, so according to the text, the ego body illusion is the belief that our we put so much emphasis on the body, and we determine what our worth is, our identity, and our security based on our body. I mean, I remember hearing once that only the beautiful people are successful, and you know, there may be some truth to that. I'm sure. I have no doubt. You know, but it doesn't determine our self worth. Our spirit is whole and pure. It's not this meat suit that we're walking around in. So, like modern society often reinforces this belief of placing enormous value on appearance and youth. The constant promotion of weight loss programs, hair growth products, anti-aging creams. Like I said, you've got certain platforms, and you've got these children as young as 8, 7, 8 years old, um, trying to preserve their youthfulness. Really kind of speaks to what our society has emphasized on how our bodies, the obsession of the way we look and how it identifies how we feel about ourselves. So, so the rhetoric encourages us to believe that if we can perfect our or preserve the body, we will finally feel worthy, accepted, and secure. A Course in Miracles focuses rather the true identity as spirit. Like I was saying, our spirit is whole within itself. It doesn't determine its worth based on how we present ourselves, how we look. But we can come from a place, the ACIM teaching, there's a healthy perspective, which is what the ACIM teaching is all about, versus the ego perspective, which is what most of us in society are struggling with. And I'll give you an example of what a healthy perspective would be. Is like, I care for my body because it allows me to live, communicate, and serve. And coming from an ego perspective, really is the value depends on how young, um, attractive, or healthy my body appears. So the difference is where your identity comes from, basically, in a nutshell. And I'd be interested to hear, please share, comment, any thoughts of how your ego has guided you through how you see your body, how it's affected your life and situations. As I'm sure I'm sure that I'm not the only one that's struggling with, I decided to grow out my gray. It's not an easy process, especially in today's society. People are judged. Even my hairdresser was like, no, she didn't think that was a good idea. But I overrode that opinion and judgment, and I decided to do it for myself because that's what my guidance system was telling me to do. Um, so that's just an example of something that I had to, and I still struggle with it. Every now and then, it's like, am I gonna, keep it like this? Is it making me look older? But at the end of the day, I can tell you, I don't want to spend $200 every 6 weeks to get my hair colored, and I don't want to spend the time. I have more important things to do than going to the salon and sitting there for every 6 weeks for a couple hours. It's not fulfilling my spirit. And that's just, something that I have evolved enough through doing these teachings and the course that it just doesn't resonate with me anymore. And I'm sure you'll find that as well as you continue doing your teachings and your lessons. So, just to kind of wrap up the segment of our teaching for today, it's like our culture treats aging as something to be feared and hidden. And of course, the miracle invites us to challenge that view, whether, our peace really depends on preserving the body. I don't think it does. But, everyone has their own opinion. So, um, and, or on remembering that our true self is not our identity. So from the course's perspective, aging changes the body, but not the eternal identity of the mind or spirit. So I'd be interested in hearing your viewpoint on any issues that you may be dealing with the ego body illusion. And yes, I have it here. So I'm just going to, I am feeling guided to do a light language spirit. So I'm going to just clear the energy because I like to just bring in, this is called Holy Wood. It's Palo Santo. And I'm just going to clear this energy of any denseness in our environment and our negative thought beliefs on what our body should be. So thank you, Spirit. Just grounding myself, just clearing your energy field. There's a little insect bouncing on the window over here. We've had some unfortunate circumstances with our environment. I live right on the border of Canada, and they've had some pretty intense wildfires. And unfortunately, the animals are having a hard time, being in that environment. And, not just the animals, but humans as well. Please, there's an air quality control, air quality alert in the area. So please, limit your outside exposure if possible. Or if you do have to be out for any prolonged period of time, mask up, which I'm not an advocate of, but, that smoke can be harmful. Okay, Spirit. Wait Thank you, Spirit. That was very interesting. Light language of love coming through. And I really felt like a purging of some of the energy that we've felt in the last 24 hours. So please like, share, and subscribe. I'm so thankful and grateful that you're here. doing the course with all of us, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a beautiful day.